Shrek is a feature-length movie that stars Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy. Mike plays an ogre who hates singing, joy, love, and is sort of a soft anti-hero. Donkey's the cute, lovable sidekick who's just looking for a single solitary friend to share his life with. The point of the film is to satirize the watered-down nature of the Disney feature-length animated cartoon, and it did such a damn good job it created a whole genre of films. Now, the 90s Disney films were already satirizing this classic formula, and I won't be getting into the behind-the-scenes drama between Disney and DreamWorks. That context has already been covered countless times online. I'll focus on the film itself. The film opens as Shrek reads from a book of fables about a princess waiting in a tower for a knight to give her true love's kiss. He laughs and says love isn't real because it's never happened to me. That's right, this ogre is red-pilled, black-pilled, incelled, anti-feminist, and anti-woke. Okay, comedic exaggeration, but for real, the subreddits this ogre would frequent would paint a bleak picture of a lonely man who has no hope in life, love, or much of anything, and just wants to be left alone in his swamp. And he uses the Tradwife AI filter to make women of color in upcoming video games into blonde white women with shiny-toothed Stepford wife grins. I'm kidding, this gamer of an ogre has never uttered slurs into a headset while chugging Mountain Dew. All Star by Smash Mouth, the song that will literally never get old, plays over a montage of Shrek taking a dump, leaving an outhouse, looking at his little tree stump house in his little swamp, taking a mud bath, brushing his teeth with bugs, breaking a mirror with his unconventional appearance, and painting a picture of himself on a sign that says "Beware of Ogre." As the peasants take up their pitchfork seats, a fish chills in his chair and then looks out the window and sees the angry mob, torches and pitchforks in hand. As the song is led to its catchy conclusion, the ogre confronts the mob and succeeds his intimidation check. They are terrified. Shrek whispers, "This is the part where you run away," and they take off. Damn, Shrek is good at being bad. We see a bunch of enslaved gnomes singing a sad song and marching in chains. We see a bear that has been chosen as a future circus performer. We see Donkey in all his glory. He is introduced as a talking donkey, and Donkey refuses to talk. The old woman trying to pawn off Donkey pretends to talk for Donkey. Donkey then gets pixie dust spilled on him, and he flies in the air, and he speaks. And the slavers say, "Hey, Donkey can speak." And Donkey says, "Damn right I can speak, you dumbass. I can fly, and it's the most beautiful sight you losers shall ever see." And he flies off, and credits roll. Never mind. He says you might see a house fly, maybe even a super fly, but you ain't never seen a donkey fly. He scampers his fat little buns through the forest and bumps into Shrek. Some soldiers try to resettle Shrek. Damn colonizers poking their white asses and shit that doesn't belong to them as always. Soon they are gone and Shrek is trying to scare Donkey away and Donkey is trying to help falling in love with Shrek, but he can't. Donkey can't help falling in love with Shrek. Who can blame him? I mean, he's mean, he's green, he's lovable. Donkey says he has no friends and starts singing. Shrek says, "Stop singing. I don't believe in love. I hate those who do. I'm a red-pilled incel and I really, really, really hate singing. I hate musicals. I hate songs that aren't screamo or guitar solo heavy prog rock songs from the 90s. Tool is not just the name of a band, it is also what I am. I hate singing." Donkey spies Shrek's home and Shrek is just thinking, why is this donkey so obsessed with me? Donkey is oblivious to the fact that Shrek just wants Donkey to go away. This is a good time to point out that celebrities voice acting cartoon characters is less effective typically than cartoon voice actors doing the job. However, considering this is hardly Beauty and the Beast and it's really just a kid-friendly comedy starring two of the biggest comedic names of its respective era, this is perfect. Not only do they have the talent to pull it off, they do a far better job than professional cartoon voice actors could have done. Because this is the exact type of script that was made for this exact type of casting. It just works so damn good here. This isn't a musical, it doesn't need Broadway singers doing the voice work, nor is this a regular cartoon. It doesn't need voice actors who can do 100 different distinct voices, though Mike Myers is no slouch in the impression department, and they both come from an SNL sketch comedy background. Celebrities playing themselves, or rather their famous on-screen personas via voice acting in cartoon form is a perfect fit here. Everyone but Shrek has been displaced. They all show up at his door. This agoraphobic misanthrope has met his match, uninvited guests. Lord Farquaad is to blame for this colonial mess, and Shrek goes to set things right, and only Donkey knows the way to San Jose. Cut to Lord Farquaad, who is played damn well by John Lithgow, who is absolutely giving the role the Lithgowiest, most Lithgowian performance possible, torturing a gingerbread man, abusing a talking mirror, and then the mirror says to be a king you gotta marry a princess, setting Farquaad's marital scheme into motion. Shrek shows up at Farquaad's castle. The town surrounding the castle is a ghost town. Singing dolls in a tiny house sing a happy song, and Shrek's red state ass is triggered by their innate queerness. Donkey's gay ass loves the gay ass song, and this is a point of contention yet again between Shrek and Donkey. Donkey wants to hear it again, and Shrek does not. Donkey hums the tune, and Shrek resorts to threatening violence. Lord Farquaad is giving a speech to his loyal subjects and says, "Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make." Farquaad says the one who kills the ogre gets to be named champion, and Shrek wants to settle this over a pint. Ronda Rousey's WWE entrance theme plays as Shrek beats the crap out of some of Farquaad's minions. Donkey helps out with a headbutt. Shrek does a suplex, a pile driver, all kinds of wrestling stuff, and the crowd goes bananas. After Shrek gets a victory royale and does a trendy 2019 TikTok viral dance, Farquaad sends him on a quest. He says if Shrek succeeds, he will get his swamp back and the squatters will be gone. Cut to another scene, and Shrek says ogres are like onions because they have layers. Donkey is all, okay, I get it, you both have layers. Not everyone likes onions. Cake. Everyone likes cake, and cake has layers. The way Donkey tries so damn hard to be Shrek's friend is so heartwarming. I've been there. I've had no friends. I've been over backwards to find friends. Even one friend to spend time with. I've been lonely. I've been alone. I've wondered what's the point of even living one more day with no one to share it with. Just one friend who actually wants to spend time with me. So I could relate to Donkey quite a bit. They reach a long bridge leading to a castle where a sexy dragon lady lives. Donkey and Shrek can't keep it together for 2 seconds and almost fall off the fragile bridge. As Shrek threatens to send them both plummeting to certain death, Shrek says, "That'll do, Donkey, that'll do," as Donkey submits to the death threat and relents. Donkey and Shrek Scooby-Doo through the spooky atmosphere of a castle, bumping into a suit of armor and other Ruby tropes. In a classic meet-cute, Dragon attempts to kill her future baby daddy, roasting him alive. Shrek grabs her tail and tries to send her flying, but then she sends him flying instead, right through the highest tower. She stands tall, and wow, is she hot! You don't have to be a scaly to want to climb this mountaintop. Donkey rolls a nat 20 on seduction, and she is sold. This dragon is DTF this donkey, and holy shit, this was a kids' movie 20 years ago? Furry indoctrination, scaly indoctrination. What will the Christian parents think in their flyover states, watching this in their DVD players in between games of football and Garth Brooks concerts? I'm a furry and a scaly. I want to live in Zootopia, so this is hot, and I say so with no shame whatsoever. But Donkey has reservations. This courtship was under false pretense. Donkey just didn't want to get eaten. He wasn't looking to get laid. And so Shrek takes Donkey and the princess and GTFOs out of there. As they retreat over the rickety bridge, it collapses like they just got very unlucky rolling their D100 while crossing the rickety bridge outside Strahd's castle, Ravenloft. As the dragon tries to make chase, she gets collared and leashed in the ensuing mayhem, and this film is too hot for children. Maybe I am a concerned Christian parent in a flyover state around Y2K, because I'm thinking of the children and I am very concerned. They should only be groomed into having mainstream kinks like incest. Princess Fiona is played by the lovely Cameron Diaz, and she calls Donkey a noble steed and Shrek a brave knight. Wow, is she naive. Shrek reveals that he is an ogre, so she recoils in terror, and he kidnaps her, slings her over his shoulder, and brings her to Lord Farquaad. Shrek and Donkey lay side by side, looking up at the stars. This whole film is queer-coded to death. This thing is more queer-coded than a buddy cop film from the 1980s. Donkey wants Shrek to open up in the most no-homo way possible. Finally, Donkey calls it like he sees it. Shrek has a problem with the whole world. Shrek says the whole world has a problem with him. Donkey says he didn't think Shrek was a big, dumb, ugly, smelly, annoying, obnoxious, repulsive, horrendous, exhausting to be around. Tea to the Yoxic Ogre when they met, and Shrek said, "Yeah, you had me a donkey," and they start making out. Before the Dragoness has Donkey, Shrek shall take him on this moonlit cliff top. Fiona satirizes the Disney princess singing to a pretty little burb trope, and the burb explodes at the sheer strength of Fiona's high note. Robin Hood and his merry men run into Shrek, and they are French, and they also start singing and dancing. So the black-pilled incel gaze of Shrek, of course, despises them. Fiona recreates some of the martial arts moves from The Matrix and just goes off on them for their crimes, which again are being French, singing, and dancing. Shrek has an arrow in his butt. Donkey thinks he's gonna die, and it's a whole bit. Donkey is sent on a fetch quest by Fiona for the sole purpose of getting rid of Donkey for a minute. Donkey finds the flower, gets back, and accuses Shrek and Fiona of trying to bone. He thinks the whole reason Fiona tried to get rid of him for a bit is so they could bone while he was gone. As Shrek and Fiona bond, Donkey is miserable. Not only do they both not really want to be around him, but they really enjoy each other's company. Donkey is a third wheel on this tricycle, and it has a flat tire, and that flat tire is named Donkey. Fiona turns into an ogre when the sun goes down and explains to Donkey that she is a were-ogre. Fiona and Shrek have a falling out, and Shrek goes back to his swamp as Fiona prepares to marry Lord Farquaad. Donkey says he gets half the swamp now. He's trying to split it in half like that episode of I Love Lucy. Donkey says go see Fiona and ask her for yourself, and Donkey's dragon-y girlfriend flies them both to the castle. Shrek crashes Fiona's wedding. He says they're not in love. Fiona asks Shrek what he knows about love. Farquaad says Shrek has fallen in love with Fiona, and he laughs. Fiona reveals her were-ogre realness to Shrek. Donkey bursts in riding his dragon girlfriend, and she eats Farquaad, and then Shrek kisses Fiona, and she turns into a full-time human princess. They live happily ever after. There's never any sequels or spin-offs or anything. The end. Ah, nah, they get married anyway, and it's a happy ending. Body positive, furry positive, scaly positive. Oh, the indoctrination of those poor little children, those flyover states, those concerned Christian parents. Think of the children. Will this awaken anything in them? Will they grow up to be super into dragons and donkeys, or maybe Dungeons and Dragons? Scaly panic, scaly panic, scaly panic. So I ask questions. It's what I'm most known for in life. Engagement farming, clickbaiting, trolling. I've been accused of it all. When I asked on Twitter without saying Shrek, favorite Eddie Murphy film? It has gone very viral half a dozen times since. Questlove has personally given me shit over it. Black Twitter tends to fall into two camps with this question, either answering it or giving me shit for it. Pretty much the running gag goes like this: I am clearly white. No black person would ask this question, which I think is hilarious. I'm a good sport about it, and if it bothered me hearing thousands of people quote dunk on this without saying Shrek favorite Eddie Murphy question, I'd stop asking it. Someone pointed out that Eddie Murphy being black and the token black cast member and playing an animal in the film is racist, and I would agree that it's problematic. Probably racist even. But Eddie Murphy is one of my favorite actors. I'm 41 years old. I grew up with Eddie Murphy as a comedy superstar. He's entertaining as hell and I respect the hell out of him. Others have said I must be very young to ask such a question. Well, I've seen 90% of Eddie Murphy's filmography. I know how good he is. The real reason I framed the question like I did, I can't remember. I really can't. I asked 4 of these without saying X film by Y actor, fav film by Y actor format questions 365 days a year. Sometimes I exclude the most popular film. Sometimes it is a troll pick and I exclude something bad. Sometimes I pull a name out of a hat. Sometimes I pull a popular name out of a hat. If I had to guess, I would guess it was Shrek. It was the last method. Just a random popular film that Eddie Murphy was in. Another complaint I hear sometimes is this is not the actor's film. For example, if an actor is only in the film for a handful of minutes, like Michael Keaton in Beetlejuice, I'll still frame it as his film. It is the format to the questions I ask. I know the answers I receive are not going to be perfect, so why should the questions be? It's only Twitter. Sometimes I will spend days replying to my most viral tweets. I'm talking 10 to 15,000 notifications in a day. Obviously, I didn't have time to actually respond in a substantive way, so I'll add heart emojis, maybe laughing emojis when I'm getting dunked on. It could be a hollow experience at times, rewarding at other times. Others still a hilarious experience. I posted in my Discord server a couple months back when this post exploded like never before. The black Twitter dunking on me was so fun and so hilarious that when they started getting bored of dunking on the question and it just went back to serious answers, the adrenaline rush went away and it got kind of depressing. Some of the quote dunks were hilarious, as opposed to just reading my favorite Eddie Murphy film is Coming to America for the millionth time. That's not hilarious, and to be honest, when you're reading replies to one question for a week, and it's a question you've asked dozens of times before, it gets old. It gets dull, and when the answer to that question finally dried up for the month, I was relieved. This film is pretty much perfect. Is it the best Eddie Murphy film? Maybe. Is this the best Mike Myers film? Maybe. It'll certainly outlive Coming to America and Austin Powers in the home of parents with small children who need an iPad to babysit them. I will leave you now with the message of Shrek. Isn't it edgy to be 5% as outrageous as children's stories were 300 years ago? Princess Fiona is played by the lovely Cameron Diaz, and she calls Donkey a noble steed and Shrek a noble steed too. Wow, she is naive. Ah.